The Polish high school, Cyprian Norwid, is one of those realities forever engraved in the history of Villard-de-Lans. When the Second World War breaks out, the clientele deserts this tourist town. The empty hotels and children's home then receive a large number of refugees. In 1939, Poland is invaded on all sides by Nazi and Soviet troops. To destroy a whole nation, to erase its culture, to eliminate its elites, to submit the country to slavery, such is the enemy's goal. Crushed by so many arrests, persecutions, and deportations, the population flees the country. The Polish government goes into exile in France, and the Polish high school in Paris takes in young refugees. In June 1940, Paris is occupied, the Polish school is closed, and the Polish government relocates to London. Zygmunt Zaleski represents the Polish Ministry of National Education in France. Together with Professor Godlewski, he is put in charge of setting up a new high school in the Free Zone with the help and funding of the Polish Red Cross. On the proposal of the Grenoble University, they choose Villard-de-Lans, a hospitable site in the Vercors, protected by mountains and accessible by tramway. In the center of the village, the Hôtel du Parc et du Château, the Park and Castle Hotel, is run by the Guichard family. It becomes the main quarters for the new Polish high school. From 1940 to 1946, this high school plays a major role in the Polish immigration odyssey, creating a strong Franco-Polish friendship.
So, the Polish government in exile chooses to open this school in Villars. Godlewski comes to Villars to visit the sites and finds it magnificent. He receives a warm welcome, and within 2 months, 200 boarders are brought to the Park Hotel. And from then on, this is the only free Polish school in occupied Europe.
It started during the war in 1940. With the declaration of the war, everything stopped and the hotel was empty. No more guests. And so, my parents decided to rent it to the Polish high school.
The school opened its door in mid-October 1940. The first students come mostly from refugee camps. There are many of them in the region. Most of the students are adults, demobilized soldiers, prisoners of war who escaped, or refugees who fled Poland. As students, they are rather old. And then, to fill in the benches, younger people are fetched, both boys and girls, children of the immigrants who came in the 20s and 30s to help the French economy. Their parents work mostly in the coal mining areas. The high school is called Cyprian Norwid. Cyprian Norwid is a poet who achieved little fame in his lifetime, who died in misery in Paris. His philosophy, his opus, reflect the necessity of work. Beauty can only be achieved through work. Professor Zaleski, founder of the school and its first headmaster, brings with him some university professors, but also some engineers and even friends without degree, because he knows that they will be good teachers. The school spirit is very special. It brings together Poles who are completely crushed in their own country, who are destabilized because they are now refugees. The aim of Zaleski and Godlewski is to preserve the Polish culture, to educate all these young people to become the future elite of Poland, so that they will continue to fight on all fronts against the German invader. They have a very strong patriotic disposition, and the school will become a place of resistance, moral resistance, cultural resistance, military resistance too. From the very beginning of the school, there are resistance actions in Villars. They listen to clandestine radios, they print leaflets, they even steal weapons that were piled up in the town hall of Villars.
La pédagogie du lycée est particulière et
The pedagogy of the school is unique and very interesting. The French and Polish educational systems are mixed together. Classes take place only in the morning. The afternoons and evenings are reserved for sports and cultural activities. The classrooms are spread around the Parc Hotel, but also in bars, transformed into classroom in the morning. Students stay either at the park or in other hotels in Villars or in Lens, a nearby village.
The curriculum is of high level and under the supervision of the Grenoble University. Professor Malbos is in charge of teaching French language and culture. Even though the teachers are close to the students and sometimes share their free time, discipline is strict and there is a strong sense of responsibility and solidarity. There was this bell outside, but the Poles never used it. They used whistles instead. The call for gatherings, classes, getting up, curfew, always the whistle. In the evening, some clever kids would sneak downstairs in their socks to listen to Mr. Zaleski playing Chopin on the piano. These were unforgettable moments. And what I liked the most was the Polish New Year's Eve. We felt like a family. It was wonderful. Zaleski was also a musician, poet, painter, and writer. The students will be marked for life by his personality. In this difficult period, they learn to stick together, to take care of the younger ones, to sustain a carefree attitude. They find ways to forget the remoteness from their homeland. They enjoy the mountains and the snow.
All these students and teachers are living an incredible experience. They are locked up in a village, but they are not locked up within themselves. They keep an open mind.
In the beginning, the relationship with the Villardians is not easy. Two histories, two different cultures, and the language barrier.
With the time, relations with the Villardians evolve. In the beginning, there is some mistrust. The Poles blame the French for signing the armistice. The Villardians blame the Poles for starting the war. So relations are quite tense, but they improve because both communities live side by side. They see that they have the same problems. They share the war, they share the hardships, and they also share sporting events. Villardians and Poles play in the same teams, or they play against each other, and they share the traditional and cultural Polish events. All these create bonds. And so, little by little, an exceptional relationship develops with the Villardians. The math teacher is Ernest Berger. He is also a choir director. Berger sets up a choir, which he calls Chor Villars. It leads to some unique moments. The choir gives concerts at the high school, but above all, performs every Sunday in this church of Villars during the Paul Mass. It improves greatly the relations with the people of Villars, but it also reaches far beyond Villars when the choir travels around as far as Provence. Creating this school poses an incredible challenge, not only for recruiting teachers and students, but also for everything related to the infrastructure, especially food and heat. In time of war, these are of fundamental importance. The school is fortunate to have an extraordinary housekeeping manager, Jadwiga Kowtinska. In order to improve the daily food, she rents 30 acres of land. In this way, the students become completely involved in their own survival. As the season go by, they can be seen digging, ploughing, harvesting and making hay. They eat better, they elevate themselves through their work. Physical activities are extremely important. The teachers insist that the students should always be in good shape, because at any moment they might have to take up the fight again. There is no military training as such, but there is a requirement for everyone to be in good shape. Hence, the many sports in which they participate, sometimes at very high level. Hence, the many walks they take in the mountains and the love they have for them. Godleski is a very good alpinist. He will climb over and over again what they called the Silver Mountains. And Zaleski also, just like his students, loves to climb the local summits. Cornafion, Moucherolles, Côte de Mille. For them, nature is most important. They are at war, they are deprived, but there is always this very strong feeling that overcomes everything. They are the future of Poland. Some of them want to leave, to fight, to join the resistance, to go to England. Zaleski tells them, your first duty is to be available to build the Poland of tomorrow. Dying on the battlefield is not the best way. The best way is to finish your studies, to get a university degree, and in that way you will be the elite of tomorrow's Poland. The education they receive in Villars is recognized by the French administration. With their official high school certificate, they can enter French universities or, in Great Britain, the training schools to become officers.
In a world at war, it is out of the question for these young people to remain passive. Moreover, everything is organized to feed their passion and patriotism, to keep them mobilized. 100 or so students and teachers leave secretly for England through Spain and North Africa and join the fight against the Nazis. I knew that there were some of them who were leaving for London. I knew that, but nobody dared to talk about it. It was passed over in silence.
Once in England, they join the Polish army, and they take part in the battles for the liberation of France and Europe. With the invasion of the Free Zone at the end of 1942, the survival of the school becomes more problematic. In 1943, Zaleski, the first director, is arrested and deported. In 1944, the second director, Godleski, is arrested and deported. So Berger becomes the third director and holds the helm until the end of the war. 1944 is also the high point in the Vercors resistance. It begins with the first German attack in mid-June. The German troops arrive in Villars, surround the Park Hotel, takes out all the pupils under the threat of machine guns.
Everybody remained silent. The whole park was full of their weapons, cannons, trucks, machine guns, everything. It was overrun. It was impressive. I know that Mr. Berger negotiated. The strength of the Poles also laid in their ability to withstand the hardships. These are very hard things, yet cannot be forgotten.
And the school is pulled into the historical maelstrom of the Battle of the Vercors.
De la bataille du Vercors.
Comes July the 16th. The Free French force arrives in Villars. 25 high school students, teachers, employees are taken to their headquarters in Saint-Martin. Most of them are transferred to Vassieux to work on the landing field. A few days later, the Germans attack and their gliders land in Vassieux. There is fighting, a massacre. 5 students are slaughtered on the spot. The others manage to escape. Fighting in the Vercors, fighting for the liberation of France and the rest of Europe, the toll for the school is heavy, with 25 students, teachers and employees who perish, and 30 or so deportees, 3 of whom never return from the concentration camps. Marcel Malbos writes, "When the life of a whole people is threatened in its core foundations, when tyrants want to destroy an entire civilization, its culture, its people, when all hope seems lost, it happens that out of the turmoil, an island emerges." There are 2 periods in the history of the school. The first period is from its foundation to the fightings in 1944 and the liberation of the region. This is the resistance school. The second period is after the summer of 1944 and until June 1946. France is now liberated. The school is almost like any other one. The big change is a relation with the Villardiens. They fought side by side at Vassieux and elsewhere. They died during the fighting in the Vercors. They died during the landing in Normandy. They all understand what it means. Once the darkest hour is gone, the school finds some kind of serenity. Under the direction of Professor Berger, another story begins. And then comes May 1945. In Poland, there is a new government under the control of the communists. The Soviets are trying to take control of the school. The Polish government sends a vice principal, who is immediately nicknamed the Eye of Moscow. In the last year of the school, all these Poles who wanted to return to their homeland, to rebuild Poland, well, their homeland is communist now. So what should they do? The school closes its door in June 1946. Its 800 students, teachers and employees are now scattered all over the world. However, what they lived through in Villars will mark them forever, and they will not lose sight of each other's.
It's my life. It's not a part of my life. It's all my past life, these 6 years with the Poles. Is it perhaps because of the quality of the pupils? Their level of culture was really amazing.
Godleski tells us, it was a school unlike any other. Its vitality, the breadth of its aspirations, the determination of all, leaders, students, employees, they all bore fruits. We had an appointment with history. We took up the challenge. We transmitted to the next generation the cultural and spiritual wealth of our motherland.
In the 1970s, Villars Mayor André Ravix encouraged Bernard Nowak and others to found the Polish High School Alumni Association.
And since they call themselves Villardiens, and they carry in their heart these mountains, this nature, this incredible experience that they all lived.
The Polish high school was an exceptional institution where the builders of modern Poland were trained. It kept alive the Polish culture and spirit. There, Poles and Villardians built a unique friendship. They revealed their common humanism in what proved to be a cradle of freedoms.